In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming pattern, taking a look at multiple pretty interesting storms. We're going to have a very turbulent pattern for a lot of the deep south and eastern states. A little bit drier up towards the north central states, and the west is going to be pretty near normal. A little bit drier, but pretty close to normal. Severe weather will happen in this upcoming pattern, but as of now, at least in the very near term, we don't really see anything super huge. Obviously, as we're working our way through May, this is usually the heart of severe weather season, so I'm sure there will be some larger episodes, obviously towards the midway point and the late way point of the month. But for now, we do get a little bit of a breather, a very slight one. There was some tornadoes in North Carolina and Virginia near my neck of the woods yesterday, but as far as major outbreaks, we are taking a bit of a break. I'm excited to announce that I just released a brand new vlog. Right as you're watching this video, it is available on my Ashton Blue channel. You can check it out on the top right corner of your screen, the pinned comment and description down below. We went to Florida, we went boating, we went to a Disney resort, we went all sorts of places. We went to Disney Springs, it was awesome, and we saw and actually encountered a very intense thunderstorm that hit us while we were boating, and we had to get out of there really quickly. Okay, we might get hit actually. Rachel, what's going on?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck! Get us out of here! Check it out today. Subscribe to that channel, like I said, like the video and comment down below that video because it helps me out so much as I'm just beginning to grow that channel. It helps it get suggested to more people, which is very hard to do when you're first starting out. So that would mean the world to me if you guys would just go do those three things over on that channel. With all that being said, let's just go ahead and dive into things. And we're taking a look at the precipitable water. We showed this about a week ago or so. And it gives you a really good idea of how much potential rainfall is in the atmosphere and how much moisture is present. So typically this tool shows you how much rainfall can even occur in a certain spot from obviously a single system or like a single cell. So the maximum potential for rainfall, but this is going to give us a great idea of overall humidity and dryness and everything like that. So as we take a look at today, we could see that we just had a bit of a frontal boundary come through yesterday. This stationary front kind of finally moved offshore. We do have plenty of moisture up here in the northeast corner of the nation, where some severe weather is expected to continue for today. And if not that, then at least numerous thunderstorms in that area. Obviously, also today, we're going to be dealing with some deep south thunderstorms, which happens more days than not, basically moving forward through May into June, July, August. It's standard for there to be more stormy days than not. Looking towards a little later on in the pattern, let's just keep this moving. We do see that we get some sort of broad low pressure going, a little bit of a cold front there over Texas, and a bit of a maybe warm front look. So we're getting this humidity and overall moisture pulled back up from the Gulf, and this could be a big time rainmaker and thunderstorm event for areas in the deeper south. Let's keep going here, and as we just take this towards Wednesday, we see this moving towards the southeast. And then eventually into Thursday the 8th, we do see this moving up the eastern seaboard, at least up into the mid-Atlantic, and by Friday, it's all the way up into Maine, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire. So we see that areas, again, along the deeper south and up and down the East Coast are at least experiencing rainfall. But during this time frame, we're not going to be nearly as hot as we have been. We do see some drier air working its way in. Typically, this is associated with more Arctic air masses, and that is what we're dealing with here. So cooler conditions, drier, and a lot of your moisture is exclusive here, as you can see, for the more coastal areas. Eventually, that cold front does work its way through, and at least on the mid-Atlantic and northeast side of things, where we see this boundary here has shoved its way offshore. So likely some storms obviously happening and then moving offshore, and that does give way to this much drier, cooler pattern. But by Monday the 12th, we get this next surge up the East Coast of moisture, and really, if we look at it as a whole, there is plenty of moisture basically from the plains eastward for most areas, but we really get this explosive push of moisture up the eastern seaboard here. And again, this could be associated with another large-scale rain event there. We continue to see this moisture. It moves up and then pushes eastward here on the northeast side of things. As you can see, another low moves through, and then it looks like we're getting another frontal boundary moving through, where we're getting a flattening out of this once again. So what's funny enough is we actually end off on a note that looks pretty similar to what we started off with maybe some action moving up the eastern seaboard once again as we move towards the 20th. Looking at our overall storminess with what we now know, we do see again that pretty large rainmaker for the deep south here for later on this afternoon into very early on Wednesday. Again, overall, this is going to work its way up the east coast over time. So let's see, by Wednesday afternoon, you can see it's moving eastward through the deep south into a lot of the southeast. And then by Thursday, we do see that a lot of this is now stretching up into the northeast, Ohio Valley, mid-Atlantic. So a lot of different areas dealing with thunderstorms, showers, overall rainfall. But again, we talked about this yesterday a lot, but the main ridge here is over the central states, and we see this trough over the east. Again, this dipping of these lines is really indicative of drier, colder air. So most of that dryness, as you can see, is in this pocket, while the moisture is pretty concentrated down here to the south. But that boundary is going to be pretty explosive. Don't be surprised if there's some inclement weather for sure across the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast here. Because of that dry, cold air mixing with the warm, humid air, that could create a lot of disturbance in thunderstorm activity. Friday, we see the East Coast in general looking rainy. And that actually does develop into a bit of a low near New England. Maybe a very weak nor'easter by Saturday the 10th. And then by Sunday the 11th, we're still cooler, but much drier for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast there. And then here's that next shove. Monday the 12th, we see another system trying to develop here, and it wants to move up the eastern states once again. Meanwhile, really, the central states are quite dry, as we mentioned earlier. Moisture for the northwest as storms are kind of moving through. They're mostly moving kind of through and around. As you can see, something like this is probably the primary storm track there. This feature off the East Coast does move all the way up, and we do get a more major low at the same time for areas of Nebraska, the Dakotas, even the Rockies experiencing this, and it is quite strong. Some Rocky Mountain snowfall, some late season Rocky Mountain snowfall is occurring there. As we move towards Thursday afternoon, we see this low reaches all the way down to a 982. This is about 10 days out, so we will take it with a bit of a grain of salt. What I find interesting is that this could definitely, with the intensity, also with this jet stream kind of rising up right there, I definitely see some potential underneath of this if a cold front develops for a more large-scale severe weather event, if we see a strong low like that move through these areas. We do get some general areas of storminess, definitely in this time of year. This type of setup can lead to marginal slight risks of severe weather, even enhanced risks sometimes. So even when we don't have a parent low, even when we don't have a super intense shear or, again, low or frontal boundary, you can still see some really decent severe weather events. So we're going to be on the lookout for that kind of constantly this time of year. We do get a low developing across Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri here by Sunday the 18th, very far out. So again, this could be subject to change. That moves through the mid-Atlantic, and we actually end up again seeing the Gulf and East Coast pretty stormy here towards the end of the model run, as we noted earlier. It's still in a little bit of a cooler predicament. It's not going to be super cold. This is mostly 70s and 60s, so not super frigid, but definitely cooler than it has been, where we've been experiencing mostly 70s, 80s, and even for areas in the deep south, 90s. Looking at the total precipitation, because of all of these features and storms moving through, we do see that a lot of the south central into the southeast and then Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast are all dealing with above average precipitation. I'd even argue that areas across the Cascades and Rockies and even northern plains on the west side of things here are doing quite well as well. So let's take a look at it. Yeah, sure enough, south central, again, southeast, and then up the East Coast here is, for the most part, above average. It is hit or miss. So not everybody is going to see above average, and not everybody's going to see below average, but probably 75% of people in this blob that I just drew will be experiencing above average precipitation over the next 2 weeks. We do have this very dry looking area across the, again, northern plains, upper Midwest, areas of the Great Lakes, but mostly it's that Midwest and northern plains area where we are seeing very, very dry conditions. And then it is hit or miss in the west, but some areas are above, some areas are below. Really decent, can't really complain. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, this is for day 1 here, today on Tuesday, the 6th of May. We have 3 general thunderstorm risk areas in the lighter greens, and that is where we expect general thunderstorms, but no severe weather is expected, but anything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. We have 3 darker green areas as well, as you can see, and that is going to be your level 1 marginal risk, where we expect isolated severe weather to occur. 2 yellow areas, which is your level 2 slight risk, where we expect scattered severe weather, so even up there in the mid-Atlantic and northeast, we're seeing that, as well as Texas and Louisiana and Mississippi. We do have that orange area between Texas and Louisiana as well. And that's going to be your level 3 enhanced risk, where things get a little bit more widespread. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload, so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.